Good morning, Mr. Shawn Hogue.
It is a great morning any day you get to see my face.
Yeah, we're going to say yes, that is true. So how's your week going?
Sarcasm.
What?
That's
No,
fine.
to
I
be
don't need your affirmation, Joshua. I know it's true.
To be completely honest, I noticed that I like to do like full transparency here. I noticed our little caffeinated Q&A thing wasn't up there in the corner. So as you were talking, I was trying to put it up there. So, so we're good now. We're good. There's no sarcasm there. There was just distraction. We're going to go with that.
Okay. Yeah.
We're going
to go with that.
Speaking of sarcasm. Okay. So,
this is one of the things where it's do as I say, not as I do.
That seems to be that may be, I think I'm going to put that on your business cards.
You said that like 3 times this week.
Yeah, I know. I feel like your business card is actually going to be like a notebook.
It's going to be a scroll. Just I've said.
A scroll. That would be a unique business card. That would be a unique business card.
Oh my gosh, I actually kind of, because that plays into the fact that I think I'm royal. So
your business card will be a scroll.
Yes.
You'll carry like
whip out a scroll, adjust my crown.
You have like
hear ye.
You know, they have the little business card holders that people keep in their pocket. You have like a satchel full of scrolls that you can hand out.
I would absolutely do that.
I 100% agree. I think
I feel like we need to
Christmas present.
This is Friday and we're not totally with it. And welcome.
What's this? What's this wee stuff? I'm fine. Okay. We probably should talk about stuff that people actually care about. So one thing I want to address first is, guys, if you've been on the live feed the past couple episodes, if you got in early, there's some bug that we have seen in Facebook where if you're watching the live stream, it'll stop the live stream and say, sorry, the live stream hasn't started, or something to that effect, when the live stream is obviously started because you're watching it. If that happens, you can just go back to the Ghost Creative Facebook page and click on the live stream and it will work fine. We don't know exactly why that issue is occurring, but we've contacted Facebook to inquire about it. So if that happens to you, know that the live feed is still there. You just got to go back to the page and check it out. So sorry for the inconvenience on that. But so let's talk about some news. Shawn, do you want to talk about some news?
Tell me what's new in the news.
All right, let's talk about what's new in the news. First, we talked last time about India banning TikTok. So we've talked a lot about TikTok and how we think you should be on that platform. India has banned TikTok. And the US is considering, I think the article, let me see here, says that they are looking at banning TikTok. So from a marketing perspective, again, I think this is a lot of political positioning. And so from a marketing perspective, I don't think there's a big security risk here. I told someone yesterday, if we think that TikTok is the primary method that China is using to spy on us, I think that that's probably a little bit silly. I could be wrong about that. I just don't think that that's the way this whole world works. So from a marketing perspective, we're recommending to our clients still use TikTok. If it does get banned, it gets banned. But we don't want to plan for something that we don't know is going to happen. Now, again, it's your discretion. If you think that it is unsafe to use it, don't use it. Completely your call. But we're going to continue to use it. We're going to recommend to our clients they continue to use it. It will be interesting to see how it plays out. A couple other really interesting things, I think, is Kraft Heinz, so gigantic company. I didn't look up what their numbers are, but gigantic company. And they're putting out a podcast that is a behind the scenes podcast into the food industry, which I think is fascinating on multiple levels. One of which is you're now seeing these big companies get into podcasting. It's taken a lot of them a long time to figure out that it was a legitimate tool. They move slow, they move deliberately. And so I think that it's awesome that these really big companies are now jumping into podcasting. I think it's just going to add more credibility, bring more people to the podcasting platforms, which is good for us, as long as we're putting out good content. But they are doing behind the scenes through a podcast, not even doing video, where they're talking about things like one of the things they mentioned in the article I read was they're talking about some details and nuances of food labels to help consumers understand it, kind of looking at behind the scenes how the food industry works. Guys, I think this is an indicator that podcasts are here to stay. I think that it's an indicator that they're still continuing to grow, and that you can be creative even in the food industry. An audio podcast is not what I would go to, but we're going to see how it works. So be creative. If these big companies can do it, you can do it too, without all the overhead. And I saved this one for last because this is, to me, one of the most fascinating. And Shawn, I want to get your opinion on this one and your input on this one. Budweiser is doing a weather-based promotion. And so in St. Louis, what they're doing is anytime the temperature, the outside temperature, is above 100 degrees, they are going to award some of their social media followers things like inflatable pools, lawn chairs, gift cards for ice. And they're also going to discount they're going to drop the price of their product for each degree above 95 degrees. Okay, so
a couple of things. First off, how do we turn the temperature up in Erie and get that deal here? Second, from a purely marketing standpoint, it's genius. It's so smart because they're going to lose. Come on, it's genius.
It is. I mean, I think it's absolutely genius when we're looking at triggers for marketing campaigns, and so many of our triggers, ours as well as what we recommend to people, it's consumer behavior, right? Based on how your customers or your potential customers interact with your brand or similar brands, then you take different steps. And Budweiser's like, why don't we pick something that's completely out of anyone's control and use that as the trigger for our campaign? It's also something that is familiar to everyone. When the temperature is above 100 degrees, they get free marketing because every news station in St. Louis is saying, oh my gosh, it's 100 degrees outside. And everybody on Facebook is complaining, oh my gosh, it's so hot outside. I just think it's absolutely brilliant and should really start to open our eyes about what are the other things that we can use, external factors, triggers that we can use that people know and understand outside of just intricate consumer behavior. So I think it's absolutely fascinating. And I'm very curious, I mentioned this before we jumped on here, but VaynerMedia is I believe, still the agency of record for Budweiser. And they've put out some absolutely fascinating campaigns. There's one with Dwayne Wade that is brilliant. There's one with the Chicago Cubs that is brilliant. We should link those up in the show notes or in the email that goes out. But I'm very curious if this is just another absolutely brilliant campaign from VaynerMedia. I would not be surprised if it is. So, all right, cool. I think there's some other fun stuff happening in the news, but I think that's enough. I think we've rambled enough about the news. So, let's remind everyone that we're going to be here every Tuesday and Friday at 9 a.m. and we're going to talk about news. We're going to talk about stuff going on in the marketing world. We're going to do a little bit of teaching. And we're still going to have some guests on occasionally. We're just kind of revamping the show a little bit. So we're gonna figure out exactly what that looks like. But hopefully just adding value to you guys. If there's things that you want to know or you want to see or you want us to talk about, absolutely let us know. Okay. The other thing is sign up for the email list at ghostcreative.com/live. That's where we put notes from the shows, information about upcoming shows. Full transparency here, and I'm going to put this blame on myself. I've not done a good job of organizing some of this stuff. We've been very blessed that we've had an influx of customers, and that's, we're very fortunate to have that. At the same time, we are trying, we make sure that we deliver for our customers, and so I've not put enough time into the show. We're kind of revamping things behind the scenes to make sure we do that better. So we're going to dig into that and we're going to keep adding value to you guys. So again, if you need, if there's things that you want to learn about, let us know. So I want to talk today about something that is up and coming, something that I think is interesting, something that is that you should be getting in on the front end of, at least in the idea of start thinking about it, start digging into it, start figuring it out. Maybe not something that you should be using tomorrow. But I want to talk about text-based marketing. And before you get completely turned off, stay with me because I want to tell you where we were with email and telephones a while ago, okay? So there was once a time, you may be old enough to remember a time where people actually sat and watched commercials between, while their show was going on, you would sit and watch the commercials. You would actually open all of your emails, and believe it or not, you would even answer your telephone every time that it rang. Okay.
What?
Yes, this was a real thing, Shawn. This was a real thing. People actually used to do this until
#millennial.
Yeah, until marketers ruined all of it. Because, as Seth Godin says, marketers ruin everything. Okay. And so the bad news is that the email has been ruined. You get as much spam as I do. The telephone has been ruined. I don't answer my phone the majority of the time because it will be somebody trying to sell me an extended warranty on a car that I may or may not own anymore. But text messaging has not been ruined yet. So what does text-based marketing look like? Here's the interesting and good news. And Shawn, feel free to interrupt and interject wherever you see fit. But here's what I like about text-based marketing. One, it's not ruined yet. The vast majority of people open 100% of their text messages, right? There are very few people that are opening fewer text messages percentage-wise than email, right? It's just where we are. We still see value in text messages. We open all of them. So we have nearly 100% open rates on text messages. On email, if you're doing good, you're probably at 20% open rates. Now, people are hitting higher than that, but generally, most companies are not getting consistently 20% open rates on email.
Yeah, if we saw a company getting 20% open rates on email, that would be good.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, a lot of people are around like 4 or 5%.
I was just saying like 4 or 5%. Yeah.
Yeah. And so the fact that you can get 100% open rates or real close is crazy. That means if you send 100 emails, you might have, say, 4 or 5, maybe up to 20 people out of the 100 open it. On text messages, if you send 100, you're probably going to have 98 people open them. Okay. So it's really, really interesting. Here's the other thing that I find fascinating is when email marketing came out, there weren't really any advanced analytics. So even if you were good at email marketing, and even if you were getting good open rates, because you were at some point, open rates used to be 90% on email, but there weren't analytics. So you didn't know who was opening the emails. You didn't know the links that they were clicking in your emails. It was very difficult to do analytic-based marketing through email because it wasn't refined yet.
So when you mean analytics, like,
good question. So things like with email marketing, you can do things like put 3 links in an email, and you can see what link that person clicked on. And if that link goes to your website, you can even see what that person did on your website after they clicked the link in the email. So you can kind of see this path of consumer behavior so that then you can retarget them and say, oh, I put these 3 links in the email. It was about, basketball, football, and baseball. And this person consistently clicks on the football link. I'm going to retarget them with more football information because that's what they're interested in. So it's not a manipulative thing. It's a way that you can make your content more relevant. And so early email didn't have that. And even if email did, the websites didn't have the analytics to be able to track all of that. So even if you could get them to your website, there was no like closed loop where you knew what they were doing when they got there. Not a good system for doing it. That has been incredibly refined over the past 15 years. And now text-based marketing is coming out, but it still benefits from all those analytics. You didn't have to rebuild all of those systems. So I can see if somebody clicks a link and what link they clicked and see what they did on my website after they clicked the link. And so you are getting the benefit of very high open rates with the combination of very in-depth analytics to allow you to refine your marketing. So it is really a really, really interesting space. And I know a lot of people are saying one of 2 things. One, I hate that idea. I don't want marketing in my text messages. And I would say, I don't believe you, because I do want to know when my Amazon order shipped. I do want to know that Domino's is 2 minutes away from my house with my pizza. I do want to know those things. And that is marketing, right? Because they're communicating with me. That is marketing. And I do want to know those things. And the other thing people are saying is that will never work for my business. And I think that's exactly what the majority of the people said about email in 1998, right? They just thought, I will never use email marketing. It's not going to work. And now if you're not using email marketing, you're doing yourself a disservice. And quite honestly, your customers a disservice. So I want to touch on the first point, though. I hate when people text me. I hate when I get, I don't want to get text messages from companies. And I completely disagree. I think what you don't want to get is you don't want to get spam. It's the reason I don't answer my phone when it rings. I'm not looking for an extended warranty on any of my vehicles. And the person that's calling me is just calling 100,000 people and hoping they can get 10 of them that are interested in what they're selling, right? So there's no personalization. None of that exists. They are just purely playing the numbers. That we can agree that everyone hates. Here's what we like: permission marketing. Okay, permission marketing is when a company says, hey, we can send you this specific information. So for example, Domino's says, we can send you a text message when your pizza is on its way. Do you want us to do that? And my answer is yes, I want you to do that. Now be careful. I did not say, I want you to send me promotions for your pizza, for your deals that you have every week. I don't want that. I told you exactly what I want. I want you to send me a text message when my pizza is on its way. Okay. And so the essence of permission marketing is permission marketing should be anticipated, personal, and relevant. Okay. Anticipated, personal, and relevant. And so when Domino's says, do you want us to let you know when your pizza's on its way? That is anticipated. When I get that text message, it's anticipated. I know that I ordered a pizza. I anticipate getting a text message to let me know when it's on the way. It's personal because that text message is for me. They didn't send that to 100,000 people. They sent it to me when my pizza is on the way. And it's also relevant because I know the pizza's coming and that information is helpful to me in the moment. Okay. So we don't hate marketing. We hate marketing that is not anticipated, personal, and relevant. And when you look at spam, it's the exact opposite of those three, right? It's not anticipated. It interrupts your day. You don't anticipate it coming. It is not personal because, again, they're sending it to 100,000 people, hoping that 10 will be interested. And it's not relevant. I don't need an extended warranty on my car. So when you're doing marketing, if you do those three things, anticipated, personal, relevant, your consumers, your customers will not be upset that they got the information. It will actually make their day better that they got the information. And I think that's what we have to be careful of, is we need to make sure that if we're going to use a text-based system, we got to decide which side of this coin we're on. Are we on the side of the marketing where we're going to ruin this, right? There are tons of people on that side. They will ruin it. Mark my words, we will not be opening all our text messages in a few years. We absolutely will not. It will be ruined. It will be marketed. It'll be full of spam, and we will not open all of them. Or are we going to be on the side that says we will only send anticipated, personal, and relevant text messages? If you land on that side, your customers will thank you for it, because that is how we like to communicate and how we like to be communicated to. So that's the spiel on what I think about text message marketing, how I think we should use it, philosophically. But I also like to give you guys practical tips on how you actually go do this. And again, I'm not necessarily suggesting that you go start a text messaging campaign tomorrow, although if you're in the right place to do it, go for it. There's a few services out there, and again, we'll put these in the show notes. But Text Magic is a cheap pay-as-you-go. If you just want to try text-based marketing, you can sign up. You can try by sending it to your friends and saying, "Hey, I'm just trying this out. This is what it might look like." They can send you screenshots back. So it's a very easy way to get started without saying like, "Oh, we have got to subscribe for $100 a month to just try the service." It's pay-as-you-go. I think in low quantities, it's like 4 cents per text message or something like that. So Text Magic is an easy way to start. Twilio is a more complicated platform. They're much more established. You can also do pay as you go there. They have more analytics, just a more advanced platform. So, if you start with TextMagic and you're like, that's cool, I want to go to kind of the next level, you might want to look into Twilio. And the last one I would say is Community. If there's any Gary Vaynerchuk fans in the crowd, Gary Vaynerchuk is using Community. I'm guessing Community is going to emerge as a leader in the text message marketing space because they seem to be doing things very right, both in terms of getting the service providers like Verizon and T-Mobile on board, so they know that it's not spam if it's coming from Community. They're teaching the people on the Community platform how to use it and how not to spam. They have some advanced analytics in there already. They're being really smart about how they go through the process to make sure that they are not part of the problem of ruining text message marketing. So I would keep an eye on Community. It's right now, I believe it's invite only, but at some point they're going to open up the platform. So I'm curious to see where they go. So that is where I think it's something that you guys should be looking into. I think it's something that it's inevitable that it's going to happen. The question is, where are you on the technology adoption curve? Are you an early adopter? Are you kind of in the middle? Or are you a late adopter? And if you're not sure where you are, if you adopted email marketing in 1998, you're an early adopter. If you did it in 2005, you're probably middle of the road. And if you haven't done it yet, you're in the laggard. You're in the laggard section.
So what I feel like a lot of people don't like permission-based marketing is a hard thing to understand sometimes, or not understand, but
sure.
to get into, because a lot of times when you're a small business, you have a very small list of people who you can be like, hey, do you want this kind of marketing? So if someone wants to start with text message marketing, what would be a good way to go about doing that? I know I kind of have my opinion on it, but I'm curious what you would think.
No, let's hear your opinion first. I give my opinion a lot.
I think you start with your most bought-in people. Like, create a VIP list, for lack of a better term, and say like, hey, you've been a loyal customer for ever. I just want to like give you some like insider information, whatever that is for your company, about what's being released before the public knows about it. It's about, a day in the life, just something that can like take people who are already ultra committed to your brand, to your company, to your business, and like elevate that relationship a little bit, kind of as an exclusive thing. I think that's a great place to start, just to get a feel for what it's like. You're building a little bit of brand loyalty with that. And you're probably communicating with a smaller list that way, so it's not as overwhelming. And then add to it from there. But
yeah,
that's where I would start.
Yeah, that is exactly where I would start as well. You start with your rabid fans, right? Because when you start with something new, your rabid fans trust you. So you can very easily see a few things. One, if they push back on it, your general consumer is 100% going to push back on it, right? If you can't get your VIPs bought in by giving them a good offer and saying, hey, we would like to communicate with you this way, and we're going to communicate this thing to you at this time, and they say no, then you need to rethink kind of and this is true of any marketing that you're doing. You need to rethink it. Same goes for text message marketing. They will also generally, those rabid fans will give you feedback, and they'll give you good feedback. So if you start using it, you can say like, how is this working for you? Are the deals we're giving you valuable? And they'll communicate with you. And they actually see value in that, in deepening the relationship. Whereas somebody that's just bought from you one time and you want to get feedback from them, they're like, I don't have time to give you feedback. So it allows you to really kind of test the people that truly love you. Are they going to accept this, and what kind of feedback can we get from them? And then you scale up from there, right? You scale up and put the next group of people. So you have your rabid fans, then you have your VIPs, then you have your repeat customers, and you can just start scaling it out from there to see kind of who's interested in it and how it works in those different segments of your audience.
So great question from Lois. Would you put an opt-out in this method? And I think by law, you have to.
Yes, by law, all of your all of your marketing that you're sending across platforms needs to have an opt-out method. So if you're sending emails, you have to include an opt-out method. An opt-out method. If you're sending text messages,
it's that like text stop to stop receiving
right
these texts or whatever it is.
Yeah, and so definitely include an opt-out method. But I would say this, even if that law ever changes and you're not required to have an opt-out method, which I don't anticipate it changing, but if it does, still include an opt-out method.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, if I don't want you to show up and you keep showing up, it's not going to serve me well and it's not going to serve you well, right? Like think about it like this. If I invite Shawn over to my house for dinner and he comes over, right? It's anticipated, personal, and relevant. I know that he's coming. It's personal. He's coming to my house specifically, and it's relevant. We're having dinner together. I knew he was showing up. If, on the other hand, every morning I go out to take a walk, Shawn is standing in my front yard, I'm going to be like, hey, that's weird. You shouldn't be doing that anymore. And at some point, if he keeps doing it, I'm going to be like, hey, this is more of a problem, right? When you keep showing up, when people don't want you to show up, it does more harm than it does good, right?
I don't know that I appreciate your example here.
Well, it's still true whether you appreciate it or not.
So I'll tell you what, next week on the show, I will have performed a series of experiments. And I will let you know how that turns out.
Please do. We should record this.
Speaking of TikTok content.
Yeah. So Wendy had an interesting comment. Shawn, can you grab that one? Because this is for sure a problem.
Well, she's had several.
So. The last one about opting out of emails and them unsubscribing from emails. And so this is a big problem, right? Nearly everyone has seen this. You unsubscribe from emails and they just keep coming. And that is a huge problem. And this is for sure a practice of shady marketers. And I'll go one step further and tell you, email marketing companies have been known to make this even worse. They determine whether or not you're a real person by whether or not you clicked the opt-out button. So there's been plenty of companies that have been fined because they send you an email and that opt-out button does not opt you out. It confirms for them that you're a real person, that it is a real email address that someone is using. So I'm not telling you not to click the opt-out button because there's a lot of really reputable companies out there that will opt you out. These ones that are super shady, man, it's way shadier than you know. They're literally been fined for using that opt-out button just to confirm you're a real person. It's insanity to me. Like that cannot be how you go about getting customers. It cannot. So,
well, I think that's kind of the benefit of especially smaller businesses using a third party for that, because they're typically much more strict about like if not only do we make sure that there's an opt-out included, but when someone actually opts out, they're taking care of that because they're liable then.
Yeah. Yeah, we use a service called Clavio, and they, reputable companies like that, their entire business model is built on following the rules, because if they're not allowed to send emails anymore because they're not doing it properly, their entire business goes under, right? So they have a lot of incentive to make sure that they are doing things right, as they should, and the majority of companies are like that. So yeah. Any other questions, Shawn? Do we have any other questions?
Yeah, another one from Wendy, I think.
Yeah. Blocking the sender is yes, 100%. You can block the sender. You can always do that. Now, again, these really shady companies, they'll get around it because they make up new email addresses all the time, like that they send from. If they're really shady people, sometimes it's difficult to get away from them. We use Gmail. Gmail does a pretty good job of filtering out spam. The bad news is it's really hard to do. So sometimes a message that's not spam is going to be put in your spam folder. But Gmail generally does a pretty good job of, if you block someone and then they try to create some new email address to send from, they do a pretty good job of catching it. But yeah, definitely block them. If you opted out and you're still getting the messages, block them. And if it's from a reputable company and that happens, contact them. Maybe they're just not aware, right? Like if I sign up for Macy's newsletter and then I opt out and I'm still getting Macy's newsletters, I don't think Macy's is really trying to be manipulative. They probably just don't know that's happening. There could be an error in their system. So you can always, if it's a reputable company, reach out and let them know. I'm sure they'll fix it. If it's, if it's a note from a prince somewhere in the world that's wants to give you $1 million that you inherited and they just need your bank account information, they're probably not going to stop if you call them.
Yeah,
so,
emails from Prince Shawn. Contribute to Shawn's retirement fund.
All right, guys, I hope this was helpful. I hope most of all that you'll at least look into text message marketing. Again, I'm pretty certain that this is going to pick up over the next couple of years. If you at least get in and understand it early, you'll be in the same boat as people that picked up on email marketing early. You can really build deep relationships with your clients and customers by helping them through marketing, not by annoying them through marketing, which is what so many people are doing. So check it out. If you have questions, as always, let us know. We'll put some of the resources that we talked about in the show notes in the email that goes out. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Hopefully the weather holds up, and we'll kind of get outside and get a little sunshine and have a little fun and be ready to go back at it on Monday. So we will see you guys though on Tuesday at 9 a.m. Check out the email newsletter, ghostcreative.com/live, and we will see you guys soon. Have a great day.
See you for dinner, Joshua.